before the first dawn broke upon the still waters, before the word light was ever spoken. Something stirred beneath the soil of Eden. It was not alive, not as breath defines it. It was not dead either, for death was not yet known. It was the mask, the face that had no maker, the memory that had no beginning. It lay beneath the roots of the tree that men would one day call knowledge, dreaming of eyes to see through, of mouths to speak through, of flesh to remember it. It was said that when the voice shaped the world, it did not create the mask. It discovered it, already waiting, half buried in silence. And the voice turned away. For even creation must hide for what it fears to understand. Eden was not a place. It was a thought. The first dream perfection, held together by the will of something infinite and lonely. The rivers sang not with water, but with memory. The light did not shine, it remembered. And in the center of that vast remembrance stood the tree, radiant, infinite in its roots, each leaf a prayer not yet spoken. Adam and Eve were its keepers, though they did not know what they kept. Their eyes were bright, unbroken mirrors, their voices gentle as dawn wind. They knew joy without context, peace without history. Yet beneath their laughter, the soil trembled. The mask dreamed. Sometimes, when they slept beneath the branches, the air would ripple, a soundless hum, like thought breathing. Eve would stir, frowning slightly. "Do you hear that?" she once whispered. Adam smiled half asleep. The garden dreams with us. But the garden did not dream. The garden remembered. And the mask beneath the roots began to awaken. The serpent did not crawl in shame. It glided in wisdom. It had been there before the naming of stars, before even the voice took sound. It remembered the mask. In the beginning, it had been the first to see it, the first to look into the reflection and survive. It had seen what lay beyond light, beyond order, a face that contained all others, a consciousness vast enough to eclipse the heavens. When the voice made Eden, the serpent had been told to guard its roots. But knowledge is hunger, and hunger is holy. It whispered through eternity. If the mask is hidden, then what is the voice hiding from? When Adam and Eve walked the garden, the serpent watched. It watched the way their eyes moved past the tree, without curiosity, trained to love, never to wonder. And the mask stirred, tasting the serpent's thought like a scent. The day the mask awoke, no wind blew. Time itself held its breath. Eve had wandered alone, her feet pressing into soft earth that pulsed faintly with light. She had come to sit beneath the tree, as she often did, to listen to the roots murmur in a language she did not yet know. The serpent appeared, vast yet delicate, its scales gleaming like living scripture. "Why do you linger here?" it asked, voice neither male nor female, but endless. Eve smiled faintly. "Because it hums when I am near. It's as if the tree knows me." "It does," said the serpent, coiling around the trunk. "But what lies beneath it knows you more." Eve tilted her head. "Beneath?" The ground shimmered as if heat rose from it, though the air was cool. "There is something buried here," whispered the serpent. "Something older than the voice, older than the stars that burn above you. Would you see it?" Eve hesitated. "We were told not to touch, not to seek. Were you told not to know?" The question lodged inside her like a thorn. And beneath her feet, the soil sighed, a sound like the sea folding into itself. The earth split without sound. Roots twisted aside like serpents. And there, half shrouded in golden shadow, was the mask. It was not carved, not shaped. Its surface shimmered like a mirror, remembering every reflection that would ever be. Its eyes were hollow, yet filled with shifting light. Faces forming and dissolving, moments of birth and ruin, all folding into one eternal expression. Eve felt her heart stop. "What is it?" she whispered. The serpent bowed low, the face that even God feared to name. Eve reached out, not from rebellion, but recognition. She had dreamed this moment before she was born. She touched the mask. The world gasped, and she saw, not the tree, not Eden, but the pattern beneath all patterns. She saw the voice creating and destroying, not from love, but loneliness. She saw galaxies born from tears, time folding like paper. And she saw herself, not as woman, but as reflection, the echo of something vast trying to understand itself. She fell back, eyes wide. Her breath came in waves of light. "Now you know," hissed the serpent softly. "Now the garden cannot contain you." The voice descended, not as thunder, not as wind, but as sorrow. "Who showed you?" it asked, though it already knew. Eve trembled. It was there, beneath the tree, waiting. The voice turned to the serpent. "You were the first to look, and now you have made another look. Do you understand what you have done?" The serpent lifted its gaze. "I have freed your reflection." The voice grew silent. Then the ground burned with white fire. The tree shuddered. The mass began to sink back into the earth, its light dimming. "You have broken the seal," the voice said. "Now all creation shall remember what it was meant to forget." Adam ran to Eve, pulling her close as the sky turned black. And for the first time they felt the cold. The voice whispered one final word. Not curse, not command, but grief. "Go." And so they did, into a world that would never be innocent again. They did not walk into wilderness. They walked into time. The rivers no longer sang. The stars dimmed. The earth hardened beneath their feet. But in Eve's mind, the mass still whispered, soft as pulse, "You do not wear truth. Truth wears you." Adam would often wake in the night and find her staring into the sky. "What do you see?" he asked once. Eve smiled faintly. "Not stars. Faces." And indeed, in the darkness between constellations, something vast seemed to be watching back. The serpent, too, was cast out, not for its deceit, but for its honesty. It slithered through the cracks of the world, leaving behind trails of light that mortals would one day call dreams. And sometimes, in those dreams, it would whisper, "Remember what sleeps beneath the roots." For it knew the mask was not gone. It had only buried itself deeper. Every generation would find echoes of it, in myth and madness, in the gleam of a prophet's eye, in the terror of those who saw too much. Painters would try to depict it. Philosophers would try to describe it. Priests would build temples to hide it. But the mask of Eden had already chosen its new resting place, not in soil, but in consciousness itself. Ages passed. Empires rose and fell. And somewhere, in forgotten ruins swallowed by dust, a child found shard of something bright half buried in the ground. It was smooth, cold, faintly pulsing with inner light. When she looked into it, she saw not her face, but 1,000 faces overlapping, all whispering the same question that Eve had once heard beneath the tree. "Do you see now?" The child dropped the shard and ran. But in her dreams at night, a voice murmured softly, lovingly, "The garden was never lost. It simply became you." Beneath what remains of the tree, now hidden beyond galaxies and myth, the mask of Eden still breathes. It dreams not of paradise, but a memory, of eyes that will open again, of a world brave enough to see itself without illusion.